Hello and welcome back to another installment of Balance Me, the web series. Today we're going to talk a little bit about goals. Up until this point, we've gone through some of the reasons why people find success, why some people's lives are balanced, why some people aren't, the different categories of your overall life, which is personal, professional, and physical. So now that we've defined that, in order to start getting what we want, we have to do a better job of defining exactly what it is that we do want. So with that, the importance of setting goals is paramount in this process. And I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking about the importance of setting goals. I think it's likely that you've heard people say this up until this point. A couple things to touch on is less than 3% of people actually create written goals in their life, but the people that do outstandingly outperform those that don't. So with that, just that case study itself is pretty important to understand exactly why that's important. So you can read a little more in the book if you want to understand some of the stats and case studies as far as when it comes to getting what you want and why setting goals is important. So with that, there is a very easy exercise that you can embrace when it comes to determining the things that you feel are going to be more likely to help you get a balanced life. First, what would you like to spend more time doing? The next, what would you like to spend less time doing? So the answers to those questions is the first thing that comes into your mind. Is usually the right answer when it comes to trying to determine where you need to find some balance. So if you say, what would I like to spend more time doing? I'd like to spend more time with my children. I'd like to spend more time on a hobby, or maybe I'd like to spend more time improving my professional condition. So all these things are pretty obvious and apparent when it comes into your own thought process and your goals. Another thing to keep in mind is the things that make us feel out of balance and not very happy with our overall condition are often related to anxiety. So the anxiety that we have, anxiety is worry. So in order to gain an overall better feeling of balance and just overall pleasantness and happiness, it's a good idea to try to structure some goals and some actions around the things that will reduce the overall levels of anxiety in your life. In the book, I mention a lot of different things that are common causes of this kind of stuff. They're usually related to money, relationships, sometimes just an overall not feeling happy about where we are or how we're doing the things that we do in our life. So, look back at this, and now when you're going to set some goals, it's pretty important to start giving consideration to the things that will reduce worry. So I'm going to give a quick example. Probably the most common is finance. So if you're worried about money, you can very easily start to attack the whole anxiety behind that by making a plan for creating some kind of financial freedom. With that, you have a couple different ways to look at it. Your own life is a lot like a business when it comes to money. So you can either spend more, you can either spend less or earn more. Ideally, doing both will accomplish that. So if you have issues with money, you can start by making a plan to reduce your expenses. Another option is to begin creating a plan to make more money. Now, these situations are different for all of us. Sometimes we're tied into things that might perhaps not be as easy to get out of or get into. But the overall fact is once you feel like you're working towards getting some resolution and getting where you need to be, the likelihood that you're going to feel a lot better about your overall condition is higher. So with that, there's a couple rules that you got to keep in mind. First off, change is tough. There's nothing about it that's easy. So with that, most of us choose not to change because it's difficult and because it's hard. So if you want to make change in your life, you have to accept the fact that it's likely to be tough. For example, if you're changing that financial condition, it might mean that you need to reduce your spending habits or your impulsivity when it comes to buying things or something, and that can be tough because it's different. The second part is probably my favorite saying. It's the tagline on my website. You just need to understand that success demands payment in advance. So anything that you really want to achieve and the place that you really want to get to, if it's a truly worthwhile destination, you're going to have to pay in advance. And by pay in advance, it doesn't necessarily mean financial. It means you're going to have to put in the effort. You're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to do the practice. You're going to have to make the change. You're going to likely have to experience some form of discomfort when it comes to getting what you want. So if you can acknowledge those two facts and couple them with a little bit of defining your goals and really understanding how to attack the things that are causing anxiety in your life, you're going to be one step closer to a balanced life. Thanks for hanging out. Stick around. We'll have another episode soon.